Hey y'all, I'm Emily and welcome back to Daniel Base, where I find peace in my garden and joy in my kitchen. I am currently in my greenhouse because the hubby is outside pressure washing. So that obnoxious noise y'all possibly can hear is the pressure washer. But I want to be efficient with my time, so try to ignore the sound of the engine on the pressure washer. Hopefully the mic will drown it out. So um, while we are both outside today, I need to uppot my perennials, and then I also need to plant my Mexican gherkins and my Kajari melons. So let's get into it. So the first thing I need to do is fill up two of my big nursery pots. I believe they're the 3 gallons. But first I need to make more of my soil mixture. So it's 1 bag of jungle growth and then 8 cups of perlite. And when I say cups, I mean like a cereal bowl. Let me show you. So this is just a hard plastic cereal bowl that we picked up from like Walmart. And that's what I use to scoop out the perlite. And I use excuse me, the perlite dust. So I scoop out 8 of these for 1 bag of jungle growth, which I believe is 1.5 cubic feet. Whew. Whew. I didn't want to drag out the bag of perlite outside. I think that was a big old mistake because of all the dust. Whew. Alright, so I'm going to give this a mix with the jungle growth in my wheelbarrow and just mix it around. Oh, goodness. Alright, so there's the other. Whew, Harley, it's hot. Alright, so I've already had to turn on a fan. It's nearly 100 inside my greenhouse today. Alright, so the first thing I want to plant up are my Mexican gherkins. And they're the little bitty cucumbers that kind of look like a tiny itty bitty watermelon. But they're looking healthy. So in the pot these go. Great roots. Get them nice and nestled in their new home. And make sure I snug that plant label in so I can remember what's what. Make sure y'all label your plants, y'all, because you think you'll remember and you won't. So the next thing I'm going to plant are my Kajari melons. And y'all, these roots are already poking out the bottom. So I got some itty bitty tiny ones last year, but I started them really late. So, and by late I mean when it was already starting to get cold for the year. So they really didn't have enough time to give me anything worthwhile. But they're nice and healthy. So these are my Kajari melons that I'm going to put in front of my trellis and just let them climb up. Alright y'all, so I've already moved out those two the Kajari melons and my Mexican gherkins outside, and I'll show y'all where I placed them in a bit. But since he's still pressure washing and making a whole bunch of racket, I'm going to stay in here and uppot my perennial tray that I started a few weeks back. So I'm going to get my pot's ready, filled up with my mixture of perlite and jungle growth, and get these babies up potted. All right, y'all, so now I'm just going to start up potting the perennials that I started in this tray. Because he's still working on the back porch, pressure washing all the algae and dog hair and stuff off. So, let's see. I think I want to start off with the creeping daisies because, yeah, I love daisies. So let's start there. So the one good thing that I love about these bootstrap bomber trays is there's a hole in the bottom, and you can easily just stick a dibbler in there and loosen them up. There we go. One plug ready to go. All right, so now I'm going to move on to the purple echinacea, which is the echinacea purpurea that you can also use for medicinal purposes. But I'm just going to use it for beauty. These seeds germinated so well. I was very happy to see them. All right, so my next row is American Beautyberry, and they're super, super tiny, y'all. But I know if I only leave this one row in this tray, it's going to dry out. So I'm going to try to carefully just go ahead and move them into new pots. All right, snug them in their new home. That's American Beautyberry. They're just so tiny. All right, so the next I have let me show you, two lupins right here. And they're beautiful. All right, y'all, so I'm going to take these two lupins and put them in this pretty terracotta pot that I picked up last year. And just keep them by the back door because they're so pretty. I don't want to lose them. I think I want to start more of these because they germinated so easily, y'all. All right, get that one in. And let's get this one in. There we go. All right, so I don't see any of my Palmer penstemon. Well, there might be one. Don't think it's really worth it. Maybe one of the firecracker penstemon that I'll up pot. Let's see what I can get out. I'm pretty much just going to lay those on top of the surface. Let's see, just watch what happens. Do I have any more? Tiny one right there. Now I want to pot the comfrey. Y'all, comfrey was so easy to germinate. I was so surprised. Like, I just assumed it was difficult for it to germinate from seed. Mm-mm. It was pretty much the first thing that popped up for me. Here's another comfrey. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm up potting into my bootstrap bomber pots, y'all. So far, these have been the best pots I've ever used. And I used to use like solo cups, which work, but these just last so many more growing seasons. They're the hard, rigid plastic, and they definitely store well. I keep them inside the greenhouse, and it gets hot in here. Now I only have one mountain tree peony that germinated. Now on the seed packet it did say it took a long, or that it takes a long time to germinate, but I'm going to use this tray for something else. So I'm going to just pot the itty bitty one that germinated. Let's see if I can keep it alive. So all this soil I'm going to just dump out into my in-ground flower bed outside, and then let me show you where I put the Kajari melons and the Mexican gherkins. Alright y'all, so this is where I put the Mexican gherkins and my Kajari melons next to this homemade trellis. And for reference, it is right beside my potato bed. I think they're going to do great in this sunny spot. Alrighty y'all, so that's going to be it for this project today. I up potted my perennials and moved out the Kajari melons and the Mexican gherkins. I think that's a win for today. So until next time, y'all, I'm Emily from Bama Based, where I find peace in my garden and joy in my kitchen. Bye, y'all.